Daniel, how would you describe the overall performance of China's Spring Festival box office so far?
It's a strong year, a year that continues, I think, the upward momentum that we've had in the post-pandemic period, a post-pandemic period that's been marked by peaks and valleys in the Chinese box office. But really, 2026 is telling me that there is some real stability here and a platform for growth. I think that's really the background of the strength of the Chinese box office moving forward.
What would you say is the what behind that growth? I mean, how do the latest figures reflect broader trends in domestic film consumption compared to previous years?
I think the big difference in 2026 when we compare it to the 2025 Spring Festival period is that there is no main tentpole like Ne 2 that is just directing all the attention in the marketplace. Don't get me wrong, it's great to have one of those great blockbuster titles that get celebrated worldwide, but for a stronger industry, we really need an array of titles, a diversity of films to come in and perform at a high level. And that's exactly what happened this year in the Chinese box office during this holiday period. You have a number of different films really connecting with a different number of audiences. The global film culture today is not a monoculture. It's different demographics looking for different entertainment options. There's only a set number of times you can watch the same film in cinemas. And for those of us that love the movie-going experience, having more choice is key to that growth. That's exactly what we're seeing in China today.
And that being said, China has temporarily become the world's largest single market box office during this holiday season. Talk to us about some of the factors that contributed to that milestone.
Well, I think there's a number of factors here. It's not only in terms of the big blockbusters that are getting a lot of play in China, it's also the number of films that are hitting theaters. To my point earlier, you really need a consistent and diverse number of titles to appeal to different demographics, and that's something that China has been able to get right this year. Really, as Hollywood starts to consolidate itself to irrelevance, China is rectifying every single mistake and mishap that Hollywood has made over the last 2 years. Instead of getting slowed down by a writer's strike, by an actor's strike, by production slowdowns, by looking at streaming potential, China is going all in on theatrical releases and making sure that theaters in the country have a consistent pipeline of films to satisfy demand. Beyond that, we've seen a great effort in China to open more cinemas in Tier 4 and Tier 3 cities. These Tier 3 and Tier 4 cities are going to be key for the growth of the Chinese market moving forward. We know that those top urban areas, those densely populated demographics, they're always going to turn out for movies, but having that growth in those smaller cities and communities is really going to be integral to see this, let's say, temporary record become a permanent one into the future. And finally, I think a key factor that we saw during this holiday period in China is the average ticket price. While the price of everything seems to be going up here in the US, from my coffee to my groceries to my ticket prices at the cinema, ticket prices in China have been the lowest in the last 5 years. That's through a number of different cultural efforts, and that's through an effort that the country is significantly putting into making sure that mass audiences discover the joy of the movie-going experience. That is behind the great success of this year.
Right. I mean, I know that I would almost rather wait till something comes out on streaming instead of spending so much money, not just on the tickets, but something to drink and getting there. I mean, everything has just exploded in price. You talked about the array of choices when it comes to watching movies this holiday period. Several domestic films have dominated the charts this spring festival. What does that say about the confidence in China's creative and cultural industries? Because, we were talking about like animated Ne, we have seen historical movies, and now we're seeing more technology-focused movies, AI-focused movies. Where do you see the creativity going there in China?
I think what we're seeing right now is that Chinese audiences are very well represented by a diverse number of Chinese films, of domestic films, of a number of different genres. And it's not just these big blockbusters. At the art house level, you have great filmmakers like Bigan and Jiaxing that are getting a lot of notices in international film festivals and are playing art houses worldwide. So from very esoteric small films to big blockbuster titles, China seems to have that covered and seems to be giving these filmmakers real theatrical releases to make sure that their movies get seen the way they intended to. As we talk about that impact of streaming, of course, I think that's a factor here in the US, whereas in China, we're seeing great support in making movie going more accessible by opening more cinemas in smaller regions and making it more affordable, especially during this holiday period. I think these are key factors for that growth. And honestly, I remember being on this network 10, 15 years ago saying that, hey, China has become this great resource for Hollywood movies. Well, today, China doesn't need Hollywood movies to be a leading global market anymore. As long as the Chinese creative output is what we have seen it be today, China is fine on its own. It doesn't need any more help to get to where it's going.